We need to talk about the fact that we seem to think that some so-called fallen women deserve our pity, where others do not. Or, as I like to put it, what's the difference between Fantine and Roxy Hart? In doing research for my musical, I found that the fallen woman trope seems to fall into one of these two categories. And I started to wonder, what's going on here? For an overview of what the fallen woman trope is, go check out my previous video, What is a Fallen Woman? The first is the woman who begins as an innocent virgin, but is duped by a devious man who lies about being in love with her so he can get some, only to leave her once he has what he wants, and she is on the path of no return to ruin because of her lack of V-card. There are slightly different takes on this story, but that's the main idea. I call this the Fantine fallen woman after the character in Les Miserables. She falls in love with the wrong man who leaves her pregnant and alone, and in about 5 years, she goes from this to this. Fired from her job for being a single mother, she sells her teeth, her hair, and finally her whole body to pay for her child, only to die of TB soon after. All she wanted was a man's love, marriage, and family, but she chose poorly. The second type of fallen woman is the one we see as not deserving of our pity. We see her sexual past as not due to her naivete, but to her naturally sordid soul, a precursor of debauchery to come. She couldn't help herself because she is bad, bad, bad. And her unwillingness to wait until her wedding night was just the first sign. I call this the Roxy Hart fallen woman after the character in Chicago. Roxy went to prison for murder, then schemed her way out. But what came before that? Dreams of stardom in vaudeville and professional success. Dating a mobster, we can't assume wasn't happy with just a peck on the cheek. Work as a chorus girl in a seedy nightclub, and eventually an adulterous affair, which is where the murder part came in. But if both of these women fall into the fallen woman trope of having sex before marriage, what makes them different? I know you're going to say that one is a murderer, but I would argue that they lost our pity way before that. They're actually two really interesting characters to compare because they both go to jail. Fantine goes to jail for attacking a man who was soliciting her, calling her names and spitting on her. She flies into a murderous rage and tries to attack him, but is unsuccessful, but she still goes to jail for attacking somebody. Roxy, on the other hand, also flies into a murderous rage, yet she is successful because she uses a gun and not just her hands. However, they both had murderous intent. It's just that one was successful and one wasn't. So we can't really say that Roxy's a worse person because she murdered someone, because Fantine probably would have murdered that guy if she had a gun. I also feel like the adultery part is canceled out by the fact that Fantine wasn't married. So we don't know if Fantine would have done that or not. So if you take out the murderer thing, let's go way back. Let's even go before they did the thing that made them fallen. What is the difference? So what do you think? What makes these women so different?